Hey guys, Rebel Engine 95, coming live from Will County Prison Cell. I had not really been feeling recording this week, but I feel like I need to get something out, just to, keep from falling into a bit of a slump. And I mean, like, I can wait for the next one to come out and then do something after that, but I feel like I just want to get something done. And I tried recording some other fights, but I wasn't really feeling it, it was just kind of like I was forcing myself. So, I'm gonna try this one, and this this one's not something you get every day. Um, I'm gonna need to explain myself a bit, but this is Akiza Izinski from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds versus Kallen Stadtfeld or Kallen Kutsky from Code Geass. So there's a few points to make here, but I do feel a little more comfortable doing this fight. A, Code Geass is an anime I've watched recently. Not like super recently, but like in the last year. Not for the first time, but I mean like I've watched it in the last year, so I'm relatively fresh on it. Um, B, and anybody who follows my Twitter at VerbalEngine95 and looks at my comment history, please don't, and knows me personally, which is maybe a couple of people watching this, if anyone's watching this, knows I've been and am an avid Yu-Gi-Oh player and have actually a KTS registered judge for the last 4 years. So I'm pretty familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, both the series and the card game. So of course I know a lot about Akiza and 5Ds and whatnot. And actually looking into the manga and anime of Yu-Gi-Oh and the lore and everything, I've come to the conclusion that there really shouldn't be a Yu-Gi-Oh character in a death battle unless it is, a character who is um a character with abilities that pertain to outside of dueling. This idea that we're going to put Yugi versus Ash and have monsters fight Pokemon, I don't think that's going to work. But uh, this is great because um, not only do both these characters have methods to fight each other on equal terms, not only do they look very, very similar, and their shows came out at the same time, producing kind of like a rivalry of sorts. Not really, but like a note to comparison, over the last, 10, 11 years. But also, like, they have the same backstory, more or less, of, rich, like, daughter of a wealthy, powerful family ends up being convinced by a psychic guy to join, and like they're doing the same thing. Anyway, it's gonna do this is gonna take a while to try to explain all this. I'm gonna go a little bit into Akiza's backstory because I feel like she's got the most to prove out of this fight, as in like to try to convince people that she should be in a death battle. Colin, I'm gonna just go into the abilities more so, but Akiza, I'm gonna go into the story a little bit. So we all know, everyone should have a passing familiarity with the show of Yu-Gi-Oh. Very popular series. At one point, was thought to even replace Pokemon. Very, very big series in the 2000s. So the story essentially begins in ancient Egypt, where people end up where actually no, technically it starts before ancient Egypt. Okay, so in the ancient city of Atlantis, the spirit world and our physical world is one. It is actually, the creatures that we now know as, monsters on cards are actually inhabiting our Earth. Then, after the great cataclysm of these legendary dragons and the Great Leviathan, our worlds are split to prevent Leviathan from ever interacting with our world again. And thus, these monsters that once inhabited our world become creatures of myth in many ancient cultures, such as ancient Egypt, where they're brought back to life and brought into our world, to fight in the infamous Shadow Games, such as Norse mythology and many other mythologies existing, Things like that come from these creatures that once inhabited our world. And were later turned into a card game by Pegasus J. Crawford, or Maximilian Pegasus, if you will, in the dub. And skip a couple, 50 years or so, we get into the world of 5Ds, where people are dueling on motorcycles. If you need to pause the video to catch up, I understand. I'm not going to slow down. So, despite all of those other cataclysmic world-ending events that involve the, beginning of time and everything in the spirit worlds, there's also this other one that's happening in this. So, again, in ancient Mesopotamia, there is a demon known as Red Nova who tried to destroy all of life on the planet at one point, and was subsequently stopped by the original signer, who was not given a name to my knowledge, which made this very hard to look up, and the 5 signer dragons, as they are called. With control over these dragons, he was able to defeat 0-1 and, match his power and overpower him, and eventually seal him into a stone tablet in Mexico or something, I don't know. And then the original signer, who had a mark signifying the Crimson Dragon, Quetzalcoatl, was able to split that mark and pass it down mentally to many different descendants who would later inherit it to unite to defeat Crimson Nova should he ever appear again. One holder of this mark was Akiza Izinski, who, in addition to being a signer, thus being given control of one of the ancient dragons, was also a psychic. And when not only a psychic, but also a prodigy duelist. So, due to her not being able to control her psychic powers, she was accidentally injuring people during a highly emotional state. Things like giant whirlwinds and all that, that would, blow people back into walls. After gaining more of a control, after being kind of brainwashed and seduced by Sayer, another, psychic who was basically forming a cult, she learned to focus her psychic powers through dueling. So, essentially, anytime a monster attacked someone, it was for real. So, her psychic abilities also give her she's been known to, create flashes of light, essentially teleport and disappear and do things like that. But really, outside of dueling, these psychic abilities don't really have any precedence. So how's she gonna fight in a death battle? Well, she has control of a dragon, bitch! More specifically, the legendary, mythical, beautiful Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon is a dragon that has scales that look like rose petals, that's the name, and also has control over it, has spikes on its tail and whatnot that look like vines, and also has control to create vines, so it is a plant kind of manipulating dragon. I'm not gonna, by the way, its abilities in the game, I'm not, in the card game, I'm not gonna really say transfer over, but anything that it's been shown to do, I'm gonna say it has the ability to do. So like I said, it can create these giant vines that, come out and attack things. It can shoot, red flame that looks like rose petals. It's been shown to actually, make, explosions that shoot rose petals out. And was even able to, take on a building collapsing on top of it. And before you say, well, the the dragon doesn't actually exist, it's an illusion from a card game. Remember that spirit world thing I told you about? Yeah, so like through her signer mark, just which was given to her by the last signer, she gains the ability to bring the Black Rose Dragon into our world from the spirit world, to pull it from the spirit world. And use it. It's a dragon. I mean, come on. So yeah, that's all of that stuff I mentioned that Black Rose can do. In addition with her psychic powers, that's what Akiza's bringing to the table. Now looking at Kallen. So Kallen Kutsky, or originally Kallen Stadtfeld, later going by the name of Kallen Kutsky, was again the descendant or the child of a wealthy and powerful family who, in a system that basically treated the Japanese citizens as second-class citizens and more or less like had an aristocratic view that they are meant to serve everyone else. So she didn't like that very much. So she actually joined the resistance and ended up going by the name of Kallen Kutsky, taking a Japanese surname to symbolically reject her family, who was kind of abiding by and benefiting from this entire system. After being recruited by Lelouch de Brittania, she ended up becoming pretty much like his right hand and, kind of like an enforcer of sorts. And most of that was due to the fact that she was given a completely revolutionary and incredibly powerful nightmare or giant mech robot by the name of the Guren, which would later become the Guren Seitan. The Guren Seitan has incredible capabilities that were able to defeat other people who also had inherited psychic abilities in addition to a giant robot, and she was still able to beat them. I mean, she was able to beat people who can literally freeze time, so yeah, I mean, they didn't during the fight, but that's not the point. The Guren Seitan's able to fly at speeds that completely surpass like the standard mech speeds. She actually has wings that are giant, like energy projectors. She uses wave motion technology that actually shoot creates compressed energy and it's a giant energy beam. She's got grappling hook kind of hands and like a giant claw that can actually break through energy shields, things like that. And she's also just an amazing pilot to the point where it's essentially like doing martial arts in the mech itself is almost like fighting as she would. Um, Not to mention she's just a trained soldier with a gun and her body. It's yeah. So how do I see this fight going? This, make no mistake, this has two young adult women who look very similar and are very admired by their fan bases, fighting each other with a mech and a dragon. I'm liking this fight. I'm actually liking this fight. Um, Essentially, this is not an Akiza versus Kallen fight. I mean, Kallen's experience and fighting ability might come into play. Akiza's psychic abilities might have some part to do in it in terms of like creating whirlwinds and things like that. But I think this is mostly going to be a mech versus a dragon fight. In a fight like this, I'm thinking I'm thinking the mech probably has the advantage, and it pains me to say this because, like I've established, I'm a giant Yu-Gi-Oh fan. But I'm thinking Kallen and the Guren win this. For this, like, I guess you could make an argument that like because Red Nova was supposed to destroy the entire planet, and like there were 5 signer dragons, or 6, I guess technically, that stopped it. That Black Rose is capable of has a power output equal to 1/6 of destroying the planet, but just on the basis of like the speed and mobility and everything of the Guren, I'm thinking, and the fact that Black Rose's abilities don't. Black Rose doesn't seem very mobile. I mean, it can fly, but it doesn't really have many abilities in terms of like it has mostly like environmentally based abilities. Like it can make things come out at you. It can shoot beams at you. It doesn't really have like singularly focused attacks. So I'm thinking with the Gurn's speed, it can just outmaneuver all of Black Rose's attacks and then attack it pretty much the entire time. So just based off of that advantage alone, I'm gonna say that it's probably because how the fuck am I supposed to put a dragon against a mech with no clue of what either like I know what the Gurren can do, but like Black Rose doesn't fight things. Anyway, follow me on Twitter, Ripple Ninja 95.